If you're listening to this late at night and it feels like you started your life too late, this one is for you. Tonight, we're reading two quiet Reddit posts from people who sound fine on the outside, but are struggling in ways most people never see. Post 1. Lately, I've been adjusting to living on my own for the first time. I recently moved into a place my parents helped me access in another city. On the surface, it feels like a step forward, a chance to become independent and start building something for myself. But internally, it's been more complicated than that. I'm 24, and in many ways, I feel like I'm only just beginning to learn how to take care of everyday life. Things like cooking, maintaining routines, or managing my time. All of it feels newer than I expected at this stage. For a long time, I lived in environments where I didn't have to fully take on those responsibilities. When I had the chance to become more independent earlier, life didn't unfold the way I thought it would. Time passed differently than I expected. Looking back, it's hard not to feel like I've lost time. There's a quiet awareness that many of my peers are already settled into careers or stable paths, while I'm just starting to rebuild from the basics, saving money, relearning subjects, and trying to move toward a different direction. At the same time, there have been changes that are helping. Recently, I began addressing things I had struggled with for a long time, and for the first time, I feel like I'm starting to understand how to move forward in a more stable way. Even with that process and progress, the feeling of being behind still lingers. I know that starting later doesn't mean starting wrong, but sometimes it's difficult not to notice the difference in distance between where I am and where I thought I would be by now. So for now, I'm just continuing from here, learning slowly, building what I can, and trying to make sense of a beginning that arrived later than I expected. Post 2. I'm in my early 30s, and lately I've been reflecting on how much of my 20s felt lost. A lot of that time was spent in isolation, distraction, and tried to work through things internally while life around me seemed to keep moving forward. When I look at my peers, many of them used those years to build careers, relationships, and a sense of stability. And for where I stand now, it's hard not to notice the distance between their paths and mine. I finished my degree later than I expected and without a clear direction or experience to build from. For a while, it left me feeling like I missed something important, like I stepped out of the timeline everyone else seemed to follow. Recently, I made the decision to start over in a new environment. I moved to a different country, and I've been slowly building structure again, studying the language, looking for work, creating routines, and trying to move toward a future that feels more stable. There are moments when that progress feels real, and there are other moments where it feels like I'm trying to make up for time that's already gone. But sometimes it's difficult not to compare where I am now to where I thought I would be by this point in my life. There's a quiet weight that can come from looking at your life and feeling like it started later than expected. Not because nothing happened, but because the path didn't unfold in the way you imagined. When you compare timelines, it can seem like something was missed, as if everyone else moved forward while you were still finding your footing. And even then, when you begin again, there can be a lingering sense of trying to catch up to a version of life that no longer exists in the same way. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting over, but learning how to see that beginning as valid in its own time. If any part of this video felt familiar, you're not alone in that feeling. If any part of this video felt like that is you, you don't need to have answers tonight. You don't need to fix anything right now. You just need to be. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, gently.